Oh man, hasn't it been such a wonderful past week and a half, or 2 weeks, whenever the hell this goes up. You see, people have been awaiting what I have to say for some reason, as if my word, means a lot, I guess. Lio, Peaches, and the Senate Discord server have been thrown into a, toaster bath? Yeah, definitely a toaster bath. Lio has been simultaneously accused of many things from multiple different fronts, and, yeah, it's a goddamn mess. Because of this, people think I'm just gonna rush to his defense, but, no. Lio is a grown-ass man who is far older than I am. He can defend himself. And no, this is not me throwing him under the bus or committing an act of major betrayal.
Master Windu. I take it General Grievous has been destroyed then. I must say you're here sooner than expected.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
You think this is funny?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
It's treason, then.
What? What? Don't like you're having a fun time? What? No!
He has personally insisted to me that he will respond. I spoke with him and multiple other parties, including some of the parties throwing accusations towards him, and honestly, I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I, of course, eagerly wait his response. As of right now, for me, that's where I'm going to sit, and I'm also no longer a part of the Senate Discord server as of not too long ago, mainly because I've been too busy with other things, I've been pretty distant, and I just don't care about the room anymore. Anyway, you should join the house instead. The Senate is really stinky. Okay, so why the hell does this video exist? Like, what's even the point? Are you not here to defend Lio, or what are you doing? You see, my dear audience, I have taken a personal offense against this video, because this video is an abomination. This video is made by Kumo, one of the many people who have come out against Lio for a multitude of reasons, whether they're bullshit or not. I mean, I don't really care. My problem is the part in the video where Kumo decides to talk about the Vita case. Longtime viewers will absolutely know this case pretty well, because I made a video about it detailing many of the happenings behind it. Unfortunately, Kumo here has released a video that has so much misinformation about the case that it's fucking ridiculous. People are eating it right up without questioning a single word of it, and quite frankly, it's embarrassing. Well, Sarah, if it's so bad, why don't you just show us? I mean, sure, I'll give you a taste. Here is one pretty big fucking example of Kumo straight up lying.
Damn,
Heartbreaking. Yeah. We just passed the cops. More information. We just got about a fourth victim. Now, granted, Josh is currently on probation for 29 months for computer crimes.
Now, the screenshot I showed prior to that clip proves everything Lio just said here was a lie. And it doesn't surprise me, given the amount of performatism in this call. After looking at the public records, which the link to is included in the screenshot, we can see the specific charges that Joshua Vita has faced. That would be 4 counts of misdemeanor assault, not
for computer crimes.
This is Kumo, once again, fucking lying himself. How hypocritical. If you actually did your research, you can go ahead and look at my video and see that at the end, roughly around the 41-minute mark, you can find this. In 2021, Joshua Vita faced extradition for Brunswick. Why? Because of computer crimes. Here is the booking number right here. And here is the Georgia Gazette. On June the 6th, 2021, Joshua Vita was booked at the Carroll County Jail for, guess what? 3 counts of computer theft. Here's records of his charges in Georgia. He was arrested on June the 4th, 2021, and here's his warrant number. Now, if you're curious enough as to why Vita was arrested for computer theft, it was because of this.
Currently, Joshua isn't allowed online. This is due to another current charge that has to do with hacking info due to him getting info, then spreading the personal docs of Sequestria Fest vendors and guests.
But yeah, thanks to the sheer immense incompetency of Sequestria Fest, I now have the docs of over 50 fucking people.
Or the emergency contact number of another person who knows you, in case you can't be reached or suffer some sort of injury. Some guy put his mom's phone number.
He leaked them as a parting shot on top of his response to the jazz incident. To this date, the police in Bolivia and North Carolina know what he's done and will hopefully act on this soon.
Kumo will tell people that he's only using what's publicly available, yet this is all public information and he decided to omit it and lie to everybody. So yes, Kumo is a fucking idiot and a liar. It's all public and it's very easy to find. He just hopes you don't look for it because it would prove what he's saying is incorrect.
Not only is the premise of this content dangerous to produce, but its production creates many negative consequences for the victims. In fact, any outside involvement in vigilante activity only muddies the waters for the case. Any chat logs or evidence provided to the authorities by vigilantes is impossible to prove it wasn't doctored when it comes to forensic analysis. This makes anything forwarded to the police by any outside involvement completely admissible in court and oftentimes will only serve as probable cause to launch an investigation on said individual. Not to mention, vigilantes with an extensive track record of activity are frequently investigated by the FBI for things like possession of child porn. Not to mention, the judge and jury have to bring into question the motives and intentions of not only the victims, but the vigilantes when social media and publicity are brought into the mix, which could also be used in favor of the defense.
Now, on paper, what Kumo is saying makes complete sense. Obviously, you wouldn't want to muddy the waters with a case by publicly going after somebody and resulting in the courts not taking you seriously. However, in the case of Joshua Vida, Kumo is an absolute fucking moron and doesn't bother to talk about any of the other victims besides Jordan. You see, legal action was being pursued against Joshua Vida. Victim number 3 was in communication with detectives, and the case fell through because victim number 1 did not want to bother. So, you were in contact with law enforcement, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what exactly were you telling them? Like, what were you giving them?
I was handing over any sort of logs that I had of contact with Vida, and I just went over multiple times describing exactly what happened and exactly what kind of content Vida received from me, because Vida did receive CP from me when I was a minor. However, it was all either deleted or everything was over video call. Because after the stuff with Jazz, I believe Vida was a lot more careful, and I think he actually talks about wanting to be more careful in our logs, so.
And you have voicemails, like, from when you were talking with detectives and also a sheriff?
Yes. I don't have voicemails from the detective because I gave them sort of the time frames as to which to call me. Initially, they were calling me during hours when I was at school because I was still in high school at the time. So I missed some calls, so that's why I do have voicemails from missed calls, but that was from the sheriff. Yeah.
But you do have the one from the sheriff, and you are able to play that.
Yep, I am.
Hey, this is Detective Bates with the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office in North Carolina. I was trying to make contact with you in reference to a report that you had filed regarding a Joshua Vida. I'm working the case now, and was hoping to make contact with you so we could discuss the things that he had sent you and some things that he had said to you. If you can give me a call back at your earliest convenience, I'd appreciate it. The number's going to be 910. Thank you.
So the reason why the case fell through and Vida was, I wouldn't say like caught or actually would be arrested for his sex crimes. The reason was not because of the like action being taken online against him, was it?
No, at least to my knowledge. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like internet vigilantism doesn't have any effect on a case like that. However, the detectives never really brought that up. The most they brought it up were bringing up the people. They brought up Lio, they brought up Jordan, and some of the others who had also made reports or spoken with law enforcement. But that was the extent to that. They never talked to me about how this was hurting the case. In fact, the issue with it was the lack of evidence. Because the one person who had undeniable evidence of them sending nude photos of themselves while they were a minor to Vida and also receiving nude photos while they were a minor from Vida was Jazz, and Jazz was the person who didn't make a report.
And then ultimately after that, the case fell through.
Yeah. We've had, at least I've had no further updates really, because they can't do too much with what they have because it's mostly just a bunch of chat logs and just stuff like that. It's just messages. Him stating in this video that the case fell through due to internet vigilantism, and then everyone else in the comments agreeing and piling onto that, when it wasn't. That was never mentioned by any of the detectives or sheriffs I spoke to or any of that. And if you want evidence of me speaking to a sheriff, I still have all my voicemails over the years saved because I never delete them for any reason. I don't know why. I just keep them. So yeah, I still have that voicemail if you really need evidence, because everything I say is fucking anecdotal, I guess.
So yes, legal action was being pursued because it could have been pursued. Due to lack of evidence and the lack of cooperation from certain parties, it fell through. So a video talking about the subject and spreading word about Vita's actions far and wide was chosen. Of course, with the approval of the victims involved, because that matters. Even Jordan was okay with it. Jazz gave me evidence to use in the video beforehand, and Jibs, of course, appeared in the video with their consent. So in the end, what the fuck is Kumo talking about? So at the end of it all, Kumo is crying about a video made about a predator who is objectively guilty, and everyone should know about it. And Kumo will try to tell you that this is a bad thing. Joshua Vita had a mountain of objective evidence against him, regardless if the law was involved or not. His name was put out there on blast, and he deserved it. He deserved every minute of it. Kumo will also make statements such as this: "But there's a problem with your suggestion. Most kids, and especially kids who are subject to grooming, don't watch creators like Lio Convoy to begin with. They don't watch brony content, so Vita and Toon Critics cases happened in a vacuum. You'd actually have to give Lio far more credit to believe that, in which case, by his own admission, he's in the boomer cartoon community, I hunt pedophiles. Same with Serafina. These aren't creators that have young demographics because their interests are far too boring and cringe for the victims to be in these communities." Vita's situation did not happen in a vacuum. In fact, it went well beyond the brony community. If you actually did your research, you would watch my video, and you would see that victim number 3 had nothing to do with the brony community at all.
I met Vita in a match of Dead by Daylight. He was streaming on Twitch under the handle The Drunk Legion, which I think he now goes by The Drunken Legion or something similar, with TTV and his Steam name alongside his friend at the time, Kuroka Mishima. So after the match, which the match ended up being actually really fun and more goofy rather than serious, I checked out both their Twitch channels, followed them, and I added them both on Discord in hopes of playing more matches with them, since I don't like solo queuing much. At the time, I was a small streamer getting started and only 16. I ended up chatting with Vita more due to his personality in a Discord server with a few others, which eventually moved to DMs, in which we exchanged memes, and I even drew a Legion profile picture for his Twitch.
After fleeing from the brony community, Vita went to the Dead by Daylight community to prey on multiple people, including Jibs. This has been public knowledge for years at this point. Kumo just doesn't want you to watch the video because it would actually prove everything that he's saying is wrong. Jibs, including others in the Dead by Daylight community, knew who Vita was eventually because of us. And also, what the fuck is this statement about me not having a young demographic? Are you fucking stupid? Kumo can't go through a couple of sentences without spreading misinformation for some reason.
This instantly as a former associate of Lio Convoy. Anyone who's even more well-versed in Lio Convoy lore would know about a server called Barrel. Well, as it happens, Vita was a former member of Barrel.
No, Vita wasn't just a member. He owned Top of the Barrel, which was the precursor to the Senate. Virtually everyone abandoned Vita after the Zoophile police fiasco. It didn't get any better for Vita when he was quickly exposed for being a predator afterwards.
He was actually a former predator hunter, as Lio Convoy likes to call himself. The story goes that Vita allegedly groomed this person who went by Mintheart. Mintheart would later transition and start going by Jordan.
Did Kumo seriously say allegedly groomed? No, Jordan was objectively groomed, you weird and sick fuck. Again, I don't have to point to the literal mountain of evidence, because there is a lot of it that you can view in my video's description. And this is the next big piece of misinformation that Kumo is trying to put out there.
I managed to get in contact with Jordan, but the person Lio keeps vaguely referring to is just Jordan.
And as far as Joshua Vita goes, we did the best we could. We found out 3 days later we exposed him. We had to catch him off guard. We had to make sure his victim was safe because he was going to absolutely target her and still does to this day.
He is trying to say that that call that he keeps playing is in reference to Jordan, which is incorrect. The person that Lio is referring to in this call was not Jordan. It was Jazz who was victim number 1. Let's go ahead and play that clip again.
We did the best we could. We found out 3 days later we exposed him. We had to catch him off guard. We had to make sure his victim was safe because he was going to absolutely target her and still does to this day.
Yes, this is objectively true. When it came to Jazz and exposing the information that they had at the time, we wanted to make sure that Jazz was safe, and not only that, we also wanted to verify the information. When Lio talks about still targeting her to this day, he is referring to screenshots that Jazz gave us personally of Vita trying to contact them on other accounts. This is something that Vita was also trying to do against Jibs, and Jibs can personally confirm this. And when it came to Lio talking about catching Vita off guard, he was referring to the point in time where Vita was exposed via livestream while he was at work. This is in my video. You have screenshots in the video of Vita talking about it, like right there. Holy shit, dude. Like, Kumo can't get anything right. Like, just nothing. Fucking nothing.
Very clip where Lio is talking about one of his former associates that would allegedly go on to groom Mint Heart. Lio Convoy explains that they found out about these activities and 3 days later exposed him.
Again, Lio was talking about Jazz, not Jordan. Oh my god.
Now the problem with this is if there was even an ounce of weight to the claims about Joshua Vita...
Yeah, it's not alleged, it's facts. And since the clip that you're referring to is referring to Jazz instead of Jordan, I'm going to bring this up. This is the document that Vita made when he was first exposed. In this document, he had zero problem admitting to what he did, bragging about it, and saying how he wasn't going to get the Toon Critic treatment. If this is still alleged to you, you're just... like, I don't even know what to tell you.
Lio giving it publicity and farming it for drama content.
Lio was never farming Vita for drama content. What the fuck? Vita was never exposed on his channel at all. If you understand the timeline, Vita was first exposed on FNGR's channel, and then eventually mine, with the main 3 victims being discussed. Why are you only talking about Lio and not about FNGR and myself? It's almost like you're hyper-fixating on him and acting like everything is his fault. Oh my god. Also, can we stop calling what happened with Vita drama? Like, it's not drama. Please stop calling it drama. How many times on this channel do we have to call this sort of thing not drama? Holy fuck.
Only contributed to the impossibility he was complaining about, that being Vita getting charged with any sort of sex crimes. And this isn't speculation. According to the testimony from the alleged victim themselves, that is exactly what happened.
You see, and I just proved not too long ago, Kumo, that what you just said is horseshit. 100%. We know why the legal action against Joshua Vita failed, and you are just lying about it. Did Kumo bother to talk to Jibs? Yeah, probably not, because it would have ruined his case against Lio. But you see, it's okay for Kumo to write off Jibs' experience because it's anecdotal, but, what? Like, why the fuck would you say that to a victim? What the fuck, dude? Like, here's the thing. At this point in time, Kumo has supposedly done his research. If he's done his research and he really knows the topic very well, he should know what Jibs has gone through. But here he just doesn't care. When Jibs is obviously really angry about the misinformation that Kumo is spreading, Kumo just writes it off. Yeah, how respectful you are to the victims, Kumo. Very, very respectful. I mean, hell, Kumo keeps on doing this whole thing where you can't weaponize your alleged victimhood if your evidence is anecdotal. Okay, so tell me, Kumo, is this anecdotal to you?
He then began to be very sexual and intimate with me in DM, voice, video call, as well as the god-awful audio recordings.
I'm looking forward to when you get back, baby. We're gonna have fun, aren't we? Can't wait to see how much of a slut you're gonna be for me. Hearing you quiver, shake, moan, and come over and over. My good little slut.
FBI, open up! Why would you say this to a victim? Holy Mother of Christ! And speaking of which, let's take a look at what Kumo shows on screen. Wait a minute. Is that the picture of the mugshot from the Georgia Gazette right there? You see, isn't it great, Kumo, that you're using evidence from the computer theft booking on your screen, like, while you're also trying to say that the computer theft charges never happened? Like, holy shit, dude, you're such a fucking liar. I could continue on, but I think I've showed enough for now. This video is spreading factually incorrect information about another person for petty reasons. Even Kumo admits that it's petty. This video should be taken down for that reason alone. All of you fucked up. You see, I was going to stay out of it entirely, but you decided to lie about a case that I was a part of, and I am going to defend that for every last bit of my breath. The fact that anybody even bothered to listen to this shit video in the first place is beyond me. See, he'll sit here and call others a liar all day while he does the exact same thing. Isn't that great? Isn't it great? It comes full circle, doesn't it? It just doesn't make any sense to me to just not be truthful about the case, because what's the point? Like, why would you shoot your credibility and double down on it if you're wrong? If you're in Camp Kumo over here and believe that Lio was guilty, if you have misinformation in your video that you've supposedly spent a long time on, then you would probably remove it immediately. Because if you double down on your misinformation, it actively hurts your case. And if Kumo is going to triple down on his lies, then why should anybody believe anything he has to say?